So I've been playing guitar for a while now, but I'm not the best at it, not by a long shot. So sometimes I need help when recording it into my music. Over time, I've developed a bit of a method to always get perfect guitar takes using the layers feature in Studio One. So that is what I want to show you today. Let's get started. All right, so let's start with the most basic scenario. Let's say you're someone with basic or very limited guitar knowledge. Maybe you know a few of the basic or what we call open chords, and you want to record that into your music. The problem though is that you aren't as confident yet in your overall playing, so while you can hold a chord, you still have trouble switching between them and getting a clean sound. That or you just want the cleanest possible guitar take you can get. If that's you, then I want to introduce you or reintroduce you to a feature in Studio One called layers. Layers have been around for a while now, and what they basically do is allow you to record different takes or versions of something into one track. The best part is that at the end, you can mix and match different sections of each take and combine them to create the perfect master take, if you will. Now, one of the most common ways people use this feature is to record vocals, and what they'll do is they'll have the singer run through the lines a few times, recording them into different layers, and then at the end, pick the best parts of each take to create the perfect vocal. Of course, this works well with any type of recorded audio, and I personally use it all the time to record my guitars. To demonstrate here, I have a beat pulled up from my latest beat tape After Hours, link down below in case you want to check it out. But here I have some guitars recorded, so let's see what I did. Now here you'll see that I have two identical guitar parts recorded, one of which is panned hard left and the other one panned hard right to create a really wide stereo image. But for now, let's focus on how I recorded these guitars. If I right click on one of these tracks and then hit expand layers, that will show me all of the takes that I recorded for this specific part. Now, if you're someone with more guitar experience, you can try the usual approach of recording a part entirely several times and then at the end choose the best parts to create your final take. To do that, simply record, enable the track, press record, and then play. Once you're done, open up the inspector window if you don't already have it open by clicking the eye at the top left, and under the layers drop-down menu, select add new layer. That will push the current take down and create a brand new layer. Keep repeating this process until you have all the layers that you need, and once you're done, you can then pick and choose what sections of each take you want to keep by highlighting them on that layer. What this will do then is push up that specific section that you highlighted up to the main layer, and you do this until you're satisfied with the final performance. If you're less experienced though, what I would recommend you do instead is record each chord or small segments of a melody, if you're playing a melody, into their own layer and then combine them at the end. To better illustrate this process, let me reset the editing that I've done here and I'll walk you through the guitar process for this beat. Okay, so if you take a look here, this is basically how I started to kind of arrange this guitar. I had 4 chords in my progression, but I wanted to make sure that they all blended seamlessly into each other. So what I did was I recorded each of these chords individually into their own layer. So for example, this is the first chord, and it stops. And then on the second layer, I recorded the second chord. And then on the third layer, the third chord. And finally, the fourth layer has the final chord. Now, an important thing to note here is that if you're using this method and you want to blend these guitar parts seamlessly into each other, always play a little more than what you need. So for example, for this progression, I needed each of these chords to hold out, to play out for 4 beats. So to make sure that I blend them seamlessly later on, I played a little bit after what I needed. But okay, once you have all your chords recorded into each of their layers, all you want to do, as I mentioned before, is go to the next chord and highlight that. So I only want that up to here. That's 4 beats. Then I'm gonna go over to the third guitar, do the same thing, right there. And then finally the last one. And now I have my perfect guitar take. Furthermore, if you want to make this part a little bit more natural, say maybe that you kind of strummed the notes coming into that chord, what you could do is go back down to this layer and just extend that back a little bit, right? So now we get something like this. So then, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna go back to each of these layers and include that strumming piece in the beginning just to make it sound a little bit more natural. And the moment I do that, you'll see that the crossfade up top on the main take moves with me. So let's leave that there and then go back to the last one and include this little strum piece also. And now, this is my final take. But there you have it, and again, this method works great if you're newer at guitar and you can't properly switch between chords yet, but you still wanna get a good recording. That, or if you want to hold the sustain of a chord for the duration of that chord, and that way you don't have any silence gaps in between. I do wanna point out here though, that although I did just demonstrate this with chords, I've also used this technique to record melodies. So I definitely encourage you to play around and take advantage of this feature and experiment. But that's it for me, thank you so much for watching. I'll be linking Studio One down below in case you wanna check it out. But as always, like this video if you like to subscribe if not already, but I'll see you on the next one.